again, this is going to be the 2010 versus 2020 makeup video. I have been speaking about this for a little while now. I've just not got around to doing it, partly because obviously what's happening, I've already spoke about that. We're not going to go into detail, don't worry. This video is not going to be about that. We're not even going to use the C word. Basically, I'd seen at the start of the year lots of people making videos that was like what makeup they wore in 2010 versus now in 2020. Kind of a decade ago, what they were doing. Now, a decade ago, I was a mere 23 years old. And I would say in 2010, certainly from about the age of 17 or 18, I was very experimental with my makeup. I loved bright makeup, I loved really crazy colours on my eyes. Probably wasn't wearing a lot of base stuff though. But I've went through my collection. I don't know if you can even see here, there's a whole hoard of old school stuff sitting there. But I am going to do a look today which would have been kind of what I would have put on if I was going on a night out circa 2010. So if that sounds like the kind of thing that you're into, then please keep watching. Now, when I started looking through all this stuff, it just really took me back. I know that sounds a little bit cheesy, and maybe like for me certainly, if I hear a certain piece of music, a certain song, it just takes me back. Like people have that with scents as well sometimes, nostalgia, and I do have that with a lot of the makeup stuff I have as well. That might seem a little bit materialistic or a little bit vain, but it does. I've been so interested in makeup for so long, and when I look back on the stuff, I think I remember when I wore this colour on a night out, or I remember this was like a staple eyeshadow or whatever that I used to wear whenever I went out. Now, I'm going to talk about some of these things that I've brought out today, but if you want to specifically see where the tutorial, if that's what you want to call it, starts, I'm going to put a little link either here or down in the description box when that actually starts. Otherwise, if you want to hear me ramble about some nostalgic makeup, then just stay tuned. Now, as I said, my love affair probably started from kind of, oh, I've always had a love affair with makeup, but when I started buying my own stuff and started like getting my own style, do I want to say that? Probably started from about 15-ish. I was probably wearing makeup before that, but before that it was probably just I was wearing what people in my school were wearing. Around about 15 I really got into kind of metal music and like pop punk and the alternative scene, if you want to call it that. And then from there I became quite goth, so it was a lot of black eyeliner, red lips. But around about 17 or 18, when I moved away from home, I really got into colour. And even though I was still in that very much like alternative scene, I loved having like really bright blue eyeshadow or bright green eyeshadow. In my early 20s, I loved Lily Allen. She had just came about then. We're about a similar age as well. And she used to wear like really like big hoops, big coloured dresses. And I would like to match all my stuff. So if I had like a blue dress on, I would have blue eyeshadow on. If I had a green dress on, I would have green eyeshadow on, purple, and so on and so on. I can't say that I was terribly matchy, like it didn't all blend together that well. I'm going to put in some photos here. I think the majority of these are probably from my early 20s as opposed to 17-year-old, because I didn't really have any photos. We didn't have camera phones, we didn't have anything like that to snap photos with. So any of the photos that I've got have been taken like on a digital camera and probably uploaded from donkey's years ago. And I used to love a really aqua blue, baby blue eye, but not like a wishy-washy one, like something really striking. Again, about 10 years ago is when I started watching YouTube, so I was watching people like Sparkage, who still to this day does really bright and colourful eyes, the Queen of Blending, Petrolude. They were all kind of American YouTubers at that time. There wasn't very many UK ones, and the UK ones that were about, like Lollipop 26, she was a little bit older. So if I was 21, 22, she was maybe going on to her 30s and was a little bit more refined about things, shall we say. So although I really liked watching her videos, I didn't copy any of her tutorials. So I've picked out a few palettes today that are golden oldies that this went everywhere with me. Any night out, anybody I was getting ready at their house, this was probably with me. And this one here is the Book of Shadows Volume 2 from Urban Decay. I was a massive Urban Decay junkie back in the day. It was the kind of edgy brand at the time. And at the time, I couldn't really afford MAC. Like, I think MAC was about, definitely, it's been about for a long time. But I think initially when Urban Decay came about, it wasn't quite as expensive as it is now. Now it's probably in the exact same kind of realm as MAC. But they were doing really interesting things. At the time, MAC wasn't all the colour and stuff like it is now. It did have that for artists, I suppose, like makeup artists, but it didn't really have that for the average consumer. And the thing I liked about Urban Decay was it was available in Boots as well, so I didn't have to go into like a department store or anything like MAC and try and look at their stuff. I was only like 17, as I say. I felt a little bit out my depth in places like that. I'm just going to bring this right out so that I can show you. So this is the little drawer, as I've probably seen. I don't know if anybody remembers these. Like, they were bulky as anything. And this is an original one. I didn't buy this for this video or anything. I've had this a very long time. It came with a little book with how to do certain looks and what have you, and what they stood for, and all the colours and sparkle and stuff. Look at the eyes on this one. So see, looks like that. That was the kind of thing I was going for. And to be fair, they've put a red lip with it, and I would have worn a red lip with green. I didn't particularly do overly bright lipstick. If I did do like a really purple eye or something, then I would maybe wear a pink lip. I'm going to, as I say, I'm just putting photos in here to let you see what kind of stuff I used to wear. But if I wore like a green eyeshadow, I'd have probably wore a red lip with it. It didn't really bother me. And then obviously like the Naked palette came out, and being neutral became a lot more like, it was more accessible. Like, everybody wanted the Naked palette. It was an everyday wearable thing. So I kind of lapsed into that in my mid-20s. But I do love a bright eyeshadow. So this is a Book of Shadows 2. I probably would have been in love with this row here, and potentially some of the pink and purples. I liked pinks, I liked purples. I used to do green and aqua blue quite a lot. I would do like a dark eye with a red lip because I was essentially a bit of a goth as well. I became really obsessed with the brand Sugar Pill as well, because they were from America and you had to buy them online. This is Poison Plum. I think they probably still do this colour, but this one is a good maybe 10 years old now. But this, I remember, I don't know if Poison Plum does this now, this will stain your eyelids. I'm not sure if they've rectified that since I bought this. Also, can I just say, I do not condone putting old makeup either on your face or on your eyelids. You should attempt to try and stick to the little sell-by pots that are on them, but with regards to powders, I'm a bit lax about it. It doesn't really bother me. With regards to foundations and things like that, lip stuff, I really have no lip stuff from at that time, because it will have went funny, it will have went off, and I'd got rid of most of that stuff. So I've tried to kind of match in what I would have used, but things like foundations and stuff like that as well, I've went and kind of purchased some that I feel like were the things I was using at the time, because these things I just don't hold on to. But with powders, eyeshadows, I've kept the hold of them, and I will use them. It's my eyeballs. If something goes wrong, I'll take the whack for it, it's fine. But I'm not condoning that you use old eyeshadows. I'm just saying this is what I'll be doing. So this one is Sting from Urban Decay. These were called the Deluxe Collection eyeshadows, and this one here, I feel like this should have been my, like, this should have been named after me or something. I know that seems so ridiculous, but look, you can see there's like a really big dent in it as well. This would have been my go-to on most nights out. I loved this colour. This is called Tattoo, is it? Graffiti. You can see the little pot there, and I loved these eyeshadows. These were about 10 or 15 pounds each, which was very expensive at the time for me to afford, but I would like save up pennies, and I think I got £50 a week at one point when I was 17. That's what I was getting in from bursary or something, and I would probably go and spend up one of these. I had Honey as well, which was like a really yellow one. I used to really love that. Again, keeping with Sugar Pill, because you had to order these from online. And this one is, oh god, I can't see, Lumi. And I think, again, they probably still do Lumi. Don't know if you can see there. It's like this pearlescent blue-green colour. The Body Shop used to do really good kind of duochrome pearlescent shades as well. But I only seem to have this one left, so I'll give this one a go. I used to love Opal from MAC as well, especially if I was doing a purple or a pink eye. Opal from MAC would be really good in the inner corner. It would be really good here. It would be really good here. It would probably be good on my shoulders. I used to put it everywhere. Glitter. I loved glitter. and I've pulled out this one, and this is probably so old now, and I will not be putting this near my eyes at all, but I've just held on to it for nostalgia's sake. And this is in Power Play or something. What's this one called again? It's Power something, but it's rubbed off the back so I can't even see now. And this is in this like pearlescent blue, like iridescent blue-green colour again. And this is, I would use this, like, I think I put this on at Pride and just put it on. I wouldn't put this anywhere near my face now because it would probably just be far too old. They're only supposed to be kept for 24 months, and this is probably definitely a decade old. I also used to love these from Barry M, and again, these are two that I've just kept for nostalgia's sake. So this one is like a really bright pink, and this one here again is that mermaid aqua blue colour, because these were things I just loved having lots of colour on my eyes. Now I've showed you the Book of Shadows too, but it's interesting that in this it actually has half baked and twice baked and sellout, and I feel like these were colours that went into the Naked palettes. I'm sure they did, and I've got all 3 Naked palettes, so I should really have a look and double check that. But I do feel like these were things that went into, and then this one up here is called Perversion, and I'm sure that's now what they call their mascaras and their eyeliners, isn't it? So this one as well. So they've kind of kept to the, you know, I feel like Urban Decay got a little bit sellout now. Sorry, but it was an absolutely like groundbreaking company when they very first came out, and this, as I was saying, was the one that would have been in my bag for any night out. This is the Vice palette. I want to say this is the Vice 3, and this, I don't remember what the first two looked like. I loved this because it had this like hello camera. I loved this because it had this like standalone mirror that you could sit and take anywhere with you. But you can see here all the colours that I've got. This one here, absolute favourites of mine. This was actually used loads because I would use these as kind of bases before I put on bright colours. And then this one here, this row I loved as well. I didn't seldom kind of venture into these colours so much. And this one as well, I kind of didn't have much to do with. This is like a really white frosty shade, and I just never ever felt the need for it. So there's a few in there, but I really loved this one, and I really loved the blue and greens and the neutrals as well. This was a wonderful palette because it's such a good mix of like mattes plus shimmers plus kind of satins as well. It wasn't just like one or the other, whereas I feel like the Naked palettes were really just a lot of shimmer a lot of the time. In saying that, shimmer all over your eyes was probably what I would have been doing. I didn't really do any matte eyeshadow all that much. If I was doing a neutral look maybe, but with colours it was all about shimmery, crazy, glittery, long lashes. Bronzer was just starting to come in, contouring was just starting to creep in. The same with highlighters as well, so I wasn't like that, didn't have loads of them in my collection. So again, I've just tried to find some things that I thought that I would probably have worn around about that time. Blushes though, I had quite a lot of blushes. I really loved blushers. So I've managed to find a few golden oldies of them as well, and we will see how this goes. I think today we are going to go with green, seeing as I have spoke about green so much and I love it so much. But let's get started on the base. Let's see how this goes. And I'm going to try my best to do it as I would have done it 10 years ago as well, because I used a lot of fingers and stuff like that. We'll see how I go. I'm not going to use sponges. I've whipped out a few old makeup brushes as well to show you the kind of things that I bought and used at the time, and I really hope you enjoy this. Wish me luck. Alright, so as I said, I picked up a few things that I definitely used 10 years ago but didn't have anymore, and this is the Gosh Velvet Touch Foundation Primer. This was one of the first foundation primers I ever went out and purchased, and it was a total and utter YouTube made me buy it moment. There used to be, I don't know if it still exists, a website called Makeup Alley. Was it Makeup Alley? And people used to go on and put reviews and stuff as well. So a lot of the time I would be kind of going off influence of that, because influencers wasn't about, Instagram wasn't about, it was very much YouTube. And what you were seeing reviewed on blogs and things like that. So this was one that I've seen going about, and it's probably very similar to like the silicone ones now. I wondered, right, I've never tried the foundation primer from The Ordinary, and the reason I never bought it was because I thought it would probably be like this. If anybody can enlighten me to that, let me know. But this is the classic Velvet Touch one, and I remember buying this and thinking it was magic. It feels so strange now. It's so like silicone-y, dimethicone-y. and you can actually see like how it takes the shine away. It almost like, it's not mattifying, but it's almost just blurring on the skin, which actually in the camera doesn't look too bad, but I feel it on my skin. It's just so strange now because I love something that's much more dewy and makes you look a little bit more kind of sweaty and a little bit more like glowing. Does that make sense? I would always use a glowy primer over something like this now, but I remember the guy I was going out with at the time when I bought this, and I was like, look at my skin, like you don't even see a pore now. Like I was totally amazed with this, and I thought it was really, really good. How actually it performed, like to put foundation on, I can't remember. I'm just kind of patting it under here as well, because 10 years on we do have more fine lines and wrinkles to contend with, so I'm just gonna make sure it's all nice and smooth. I mean, my skin does feel really smooth and soft now, but it's clearly just the dimethicone in that product that causes that to happen. Alright, so I have picked up the Rimmel Lasting Radiance foundation, and I got it in porcelain. I'm looking at it, I'm wondering, I'm thinking this is going to be too dark, I think. But this was originally called Wake Me Up foundation. It was in a very, very similar bottle, but it was called Wake Me Up foundation, and Kate Moss was the one that was flogging it to us basically. And if you look at this, you'll not be able to see it on camera, but if you pick one up in store you might notice it's almost like there's lots of tiny particles that I suppose is meant to make it radiant. And I remember the old one being exactly the same. They're borderline silvery, but let's hope it doesn't come out like that on my skin. But I do remember the Wake Me Up foundation being very, very similar to this, so I hope this will do a similar job. Oh, this is going to be too dark for me. Ah, well, we'll just kid on, we've got a bit of a tan. Right, I've put 2 pumps out. I'll see how I go with that, because in saying everything, I never ever used to wear a lot of foundation. It was very rare that I did wear foundation. Now, I have whipped this brush out of the archives. This is a MAC 187 and it's limited edition, so it's SE on the end. This was from one of their holiday, like winter collections, so it's like a shorter version of this brush. But the reason I brought this out is because it was probably this or something like this that I would have been using to put on foundation. This is the number 7 foundation brush, and I'm pretty sure they probably still do this. I felt like at the time, from what I was watching on YouTube and stuff, this is like what artists or makeup artists would have been using. So what I think I'll do is I'll put it on with this, and then if it needs any stippling I'll do this. But I remember specifically using this kind of brush to really paint my foundation on, and now it just seems like madness because I would always really use my fingers or a real like buffing brush now. Let's see how this goes. I really should get a little mirror, because I've got a little mirror now, because I was just looking in the camera there and it was kind of, I didn't really know what it was looking like. This is too dark for my skin, if I'm honest, but we're gonna go with it. We're gonna paint it right down my neck and just kid on because I'm not going back for another colour, especially not now we're all in lockdown. Now, I was taking the mick out of this brush, but actually it's not putting it on too badly at all. But yeah, I didn't really wear foundation that often, so when I did, I liked to go a little bit all out with it. I wasn't really one of these girls, like I had girls in my school who were a bit more wearing foundation from a young age, and they had the whole tied line thing going on, and you know, blue eyeshadows and a pink lip gloss. I wasn't quite like that, and I suppose by the time I started wearing makeup at school I was a bit more goth, so I didn't really go for the tanned face aesthetic that lots of other youngsters made the mistake of, although nowadays you don't really see youngsters doing that at all. This foundation is actually going on quite nicely. I'm not that offended by it. I'm surprised almost. These obviously will be newer, more updated textures as well. As I say, this isn't the exact one. They've changed it a little bit. They've called it Lasting Radiance now. It'll be interesting to see what the wear is like, because if this has been marketed as a glowy foundation, I'm not sure it's making me glow. It's actually making me look paler on the camera than it is in real life. It's a little bit more forgiving in real life, but we'll keep going with it. Okay, so this brush wasn't too bad. There is a bit of streaking that I don't think is going to pick up on the camera unless I zoomed you in a lot. And generally, if I felt there was any kind of streaking or anything like that going on, I would use a little beauty blender over the top, but we didn't have beauty blenders back then, so we're going to keep going with this. I think I might put another layer on just to see how it plays with this as well, because I know for a fact I use this brush all the time. And I kind of feel like it doesn't really look like there's much on, which now I'd be happy with, but at the time, if I was wearing foundation, I wanted you to see it because I probably paid for it, and I was probably wanting people to know that I was wearing foundation. I also felt at the time these brushes, it was like this was the way you done it for a natural look, and now I'm like, oh my god, like there couldn't be anything less natural. This one especially because it's really flimsy. Actually, it wasn't particularly, like, it's not a nice dense stippling brush, and I think at the time we were just using these things because we were really like, well, wanting to be like makeup artists. I think there's a lot of that now as well though. Like, I see young girls, they're like needing every single Morphe collection, like, we've only got one face each. We don't need all that stuff. But it's only got worse over the last 10 years. Okay, so we've plopped some more on. It's certainly got a bit of coverage once you start. That's the second coat I've put on. And as you can see, this is covered a lot better than when I first started. I find as well while I'm using this, bits of like the hair, the actual hair from the brush is just all over my face. Okay, so actually that foundation isn't that bad. I don't know if you can really tell in the camera, but it's gave me quite a nice, like, just a nice, I would say more of a matte, like, base, just a matter base. But I can see this being something that actually, you can see the shine there, that through the day, with a little bit of natural oil coming through this, it's not going to look as matte as it originally did. And actually, the colour match isn't too bad. So I'm kind of like, okay, alright then, Rimmel, I see ya. I'm into that. It's not that bad. I could survive with this. Alright, so the next thing is this from Collection, or Collection 2000 as it was called back then. This is the Lasting Perfection Ultimate Wear Concealer up to 16 hours. Now, when these first came out, I think there was only like 2 colours or something. Now they have a whole array of colours from Collection, but Fair would have been the one I was, and I just went straight on in. I didn't do a lot of coverage because actually I've probably got more zits and stuff like that come up on my skin now that I'm in my 30s than I did when I was ever in my teenage years. So it was more for under here. Nowadays this kind of concealer under here gives me the absolute fear because I do have like lines under here, I have crepage, and this kind of dry concealer really freaks me out. But it would absolutely have been what I was using back then. And I wasn't quite like, I think for a while there, maybe just in the last 5 years, the whole like painting on a triangle really accelerated. That wasn't a thing, but I probably did at least get that amount under my eye, to be honest with you. Now with my concealer, as I say, like a good while ago, I probably would have just used my fingers, but when I did get into brushes, I probably would have used something like this, which is like a big stiff round top brush for my concealer, as opposed to, I don't know, something a bit finer. But I would have used something like this to kind of buff it in a little bit. And I can feel already how dry this is gonna be. Oh my god. Ugh. And people still swear by this concealer. Like, I see lots of people still speak about this and say that it's an absolutely amazing concealer. I don't dispute that. But for my skin and my age group, I just think it's so unforgiving under here. It doesn't look too bad on the camera, but I will zoom you in at the end of this. And by the time I've done all the rest of the steps of this makeup, it will all have settled lovely. And you will see just how horrific it looks and all the dry bits. And I have put on eye cream, I've put on like all my moisturisers and stuff like that before this. Alright, so that's very bright. Now, I would have put an eyeshadow base on and I could probably tell you about Urban Decay Primer Potion or Too Faced Shadow Insurance. I had all of them, but the only one I had left was the NYX eyeshadow base, and I think they still make these, and they do them in all sorts of colour, and they do them in like a pearl and a plain white, and they do them in like a, now they do them in like a nude colour as well. You don't have to just have them in white, but at the time, as I say, coloured eyeshadow was the thing, and having a white base made that coloured eyeshadow, especially those that were maybe slightly less expensive ones that you used to pick up in the drugstore, made those eyeshadows pop. So I would always have like a white base on top of it before I put anything else on. So we're gonna go with this, and I would have been inclined to take it right up, you know, like a clown, because why wouldn't you? Because you're gonna put your eyeshadow like that high, aren't you? But I did. This is what I done. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and lie, and I don't think my pictures ever looked that bad. So, you know, maybe in real life I might have looked a bit scary, but in photos it looked alright. Now for this step, I was absolutely just using my finger. I didn't use a brush or anything. I would just leave it at that. At this step. Oh my god, I'm looking at this and it's terrifying, quite frankly. Oh, I can't believe how creepy. I'm going to come in already and show you how creepy my eyes are. Can you see that there under here? Oh, how bad. I mean, I'm squinting my eyes a lot, but it's getting in every dry bit possible. Now, if I wasn't using the NYX eyeshadow base, I loved the jumbo eye pencils from NYX. This one is in Rocky Mountain Green, and this one is in Electric Blue, and I loved, I'm just going to show you on the back of my hand, these kind of, wow, these kind of crazy colours, and they're still brilliant colours, like they're so good. So sometimes I would put on these kind of things as a base as well and just blend them out, but for the purposes of this video we're just gonna go straight on with the eyeshadow. I think I loved that blue colour, that was my favourite. Look how dingy that is. Oh, I'm so old. Okay, so not only are you seeing the craziness of this eyeshadow base, you're also seeing how crazy my eyebrows are at the moment. Okay, so we've got this going on, which is really classy. So, would I put down any colour here, like, you know, a base colour or anything like that? No, I definitely didn't. I'm gonna go in with either Graffiti or Dragon. Now, I didn't ever do, like, you know, let's start with a lighter shade, let's do this. I went straight for the brightest colour, first of all, like, I absolutely did. I'm gonna go in with Graffiti, which is one of the deluxe shadows from Urban Decay. And I'm going to go in with this little brush here, which is an e.l.f. Professional eyeshadow brush, which cost me £1 back when e.l.f. from America cost you $1 a brush. That's how long ago this is from. And I'm just going to go straight in with the green, which I would never do now, but we're going to go for it because I know for a fact I probably used my finger, to be honest with you, back in the day. And I just would have put this right on the outside corner here. Like so. Kind of almost a bit like a cut crease, but back in the day I had really nice open. Now I've got this going on, but back in the day my eye would have been like that, even without raising my eyebrow. So I'm just gonna bring this over, and I'd have been like bringing it probably pretty high. And there was no such thing as blend in. I'd have probably just done that, to be honest with you. But I liked it. I thought it looked good at the time, and I liked that it was different as well. So I'd have went in and I'd have probably brought it pretty high, a little bit 1980s, but I watched my mum do her makeup growing up, and you know, she was circa 1980s and I liked the way she done it, so I probably done mine like this. Now I'm going to go in with Homegrown. This is from the Book of Shadows palette. This is a bit more golden green, and I probably would have went with this in the middle somewhere. And I would have just flipped my brush around and used the other side, because why would you need to use a different brush. I mean, that's just crazy. And look, shimmer on shimmer on shimmer. That's what we're talking about. And actually, I think on the camera this probably isn't showing up quite as good, but this is a much more golden effect on the lid as opposed to the graffiti that is in the socket. But wow, shimmery shimmer. Now I probably would have deepened this up with something like a deeper, darker green. I can't seem to see any in any of these palettes at the moment, so I'm gonna go and quickly get a deeper green, because I definitely wouldn't have had it quite as just one colour like that. I would have had something darker in the socket here, so let me go and find something that will do that job. Okay, so I went and got the mint chocolate bar palette from Revolution, which has a shade called Commotion in it. It's this kind of like more emeraldy green here. It is another shimmer, but I wouldn't have cared about that. Now I'm just going to deepen up the crease a little bit with this Commotion shade, because, you know, I was a bit of a goth and what have you, but I wanted there to be some dimension to what I was doing still. I didn't want it just to be flat colour. I still liked a bit of a smoky eye, I suppose that's what you would call it. Now you might even want to say it was a halo eye, because I didn't really do it so much in here, but I definitely done like a deeper shade here all the time. Obviously all in shimmer though, so you know, you wouldn't even notice when I shut my eye. But when I looked straight on at you, that was quite effective. I used to do a lot of kind of, if you were going out at Halloween and you were poison ivy or anything like that as well. Now I feel like this is getting, see when the dark would be getting too much, I go back in with my original brush, the green, and would just kind of rub some of that out and put some more green on. And then we'd put like right around here. And then I would take my finger and just do that again. I didn't really care. I just liked that I had a lot of colour on my eye. Now I'm going to bring this in a little bit because I would have done that. There we go. So it would have been something a little bit like that. I'm just going to go and do the same on this side, and then I will come back to you for what I would have done elsewhere. Okay, so I've done both sides now. I probably thought I was much better at blending than I actually was, because the shimmers just blend into one another, so you don't you don't even really know when bad blending occurs. I'm saying this and it looks a little bit questionable, but there we are. That's probably what I would have done for my eye look type thing. But as you can maybe notice, there's quite a lot of fallout here. Now, what I would have done was just go back in with that foundation brush again and just sweep all that out of the way. But I have to say, I don't know if it'll be noticeable on camera, but there's quite a, quite a lot of green swipe going on right round about here right now. Now, if I felt really bad, then I would have probably just went over with concealer as well, if I felt it needed it, but we're not going to go there today. It's not too bad. Now, one thing that I absolutely would have always done was put an inner corner highlight and probably a little brow highlight as well, because I loved duochrome so much. So I'm going to go in with Sugar Pills Lumi, which is this kind of green slash blue type duochrome, and it was crazy. I don't know if it's going to show on camera as amazing as it is in real life. Now, that doesn't look like, it looks cool, but it doesn't look as amazing as this did over the top of like a black or a dark shadow. I would do black liner a lot and like swip this over the top, so it looked kind of cool. And then, as I say, I would take that up here as well, because why wouldn't you want a blue brow light? That would just look amazing. And you know what? I'm not ashamed of this. I'm not ashamed of these eye looks, because it made me who I was at the time, and it's made me the experimental person that I am. I love colour, and I don't think it's any shame in like getting to know what you liked in yourself. And people would always say to me, oh, I love your eye makeup, and I'd be like, thanks, like I'm really pleased, because I didn't just have beige or brown eye makeup, so I liked it. Now for underneath, as I say, I would probably have took my jumbo eye pencil because it was probably the only thing close to the colour that I had. And I would try and, you know how like people say join from here for your winged liner? I would try and get that to join my upper shadow. Does that make sense? It's messy, I know it's messy, but it was supposed to be. So I'm actually taking the Naked 2 shadow brush with a little bit of blue still on it. Don't remember the last time I used this. And I will just blur that out. And then I would probably add some shadow as well. It's funny how very little I put on my face, given how much I used to put on my eyes. And I'll tell you something, even now, if I take a photo of this today, I bet you'll look really good in a photo, but looking at it in real life, I'm like, Jesus, this is a lot of makeup. Alright, so I went back into graffiti, and I would have took that right underneath here, kind of mimicking what I'd done on the top. And I would have took it right to here because I would have put more Lumi over the top for that to have a really good effect. And I had no shame in really bringing that shadow down, so it was like a really smoky, colourful look. Alright, I'm going to go back into that dark colour from the mint chocolate palette because I would have put that to join with the kind of darkness I had here. I was never too particular how careful this was because I was always going to put a winged liner, and pretty much depending on what I was putting on. If I had blue, then I had a blue winged liner that could have matched. I didn't do pink winged liner for purple looks, or I didn't have a green winged liner for the green looks. I would usually just use black, but I think actually I'll show you the liner I used to use, but I might actually have a green one now that would go very nicely with this. Now another thing that I would do is absolutely line my waterline with the same colour of green. Again, this is not one that I owned back then. This is a green shadow, or green liner I should say, that I have now. But you could use the jumbo eye pencils for this as well. Alright, so I think this is great. It's actually making me feel really cool, like, not cool, but really nostalgic doing it. Anyway, so that would be my eyes. I did used to use the collection, again, collection 2000 back in the day, fast stroke liquid liner, and that was what I was thinking to use because it was the one that I used back then. But for this look, I now have an eyeliner that is like a deep emerald green, a liquid eyeliner, and I might put that on instead, but I would always, without a doubt, put a winged liner on because it covered the band when you're putting your false lashes on. Alright, so as I say, I would have always used the collection one, but I picked this up, which is the matte signature eyeliner from L'Oreal. If you can see there, it's in like a really deep emerald green, and I think that's going to go perfectly, so I'm going to use that today. These are lovely actually. I wonder if I can show you. So that's it there. It almost looks black, but it is more emerald green when you come up close to it, so I'm going to use that. Now, I would probably do a winged liner as big as I could possibly imagine because I wore pretty big eyelashes at the time. Okay, so big wings either side. Because, as I say, I probably wore very big eyelashes, so they needed to be quite big to cover the band. So that would be that. Now, speaking of eyelashes, as I say, I did wear rather big ones, but I have to say, throughout my 20s, I probably used the Demi Wispies from Ardell because, again, from watching YouTubers in the US, this is what they always spoke about. So as soon as these became available in the UK, I was over buying them straight away. And I still use these to this day. They're not too ridiculous, to be honest with you. And on an evening out, I think they've got a kind of natural look without looking like there's nothing there. So I do really still like these, but in the spirit of we're going for crazy big ones, I thought I would put these ones on, which these are faux mink from Kiss, the lash collection, and they're these ones that have like the double almost kind of layers to them. So we're gonna put these ones on for a laugh. Now another one that I used to wear quite a lot was Girls Aloud made lashes with eyelure. I don't know if anybody else remembers that. And I would wear the Nicola, or is it Kimberly? I used to buy the odd Cheryl one as well, but I think Nicola's ones were the ones I used to get quite a lot. Those were like readily available all the time. Nowadays the selection of like nails and lashes and all that kind of stuff is absolutely astounding, whereas back in the day they just didn't have that much. Another thing to remember as well back in the day was that YouTube, when it started, was in its infancy, and to be honest with you, people didn't know how to put lashes and stuff like that on, so a lot of the time you went looking to try and find out how to do something or how to achieve something, and then you would discover new people on YouTube. So we're gonna go, I always kind of look down into my mirror when I'm doing this, and then just place them on top of my natural lash. Now you might see quite a lot of people doing mascara first. I tend to do that after, just because I'm trying to make it look as natural with the lash, as natural, look at these things, as possible. Alright, so here we are, a la massive big lashes too. Oh wow, you start to wonder like, what was the point of me even putting the shadow in, because you can't even see it when I open my eyes. But there we go. So that's kind of what I would have been going for, really heavy. I would have used the demi wispies as well, but if we're going to really go all out, why not do it properly? Would have went for something like this. With regards to mascara, I'm pretty sure I was using this one at the time, and as I said, I would have put my mascara on afterwards because I wanted it to really blend in with the lash, my own lashes. So I would have just had a little sweep right in at the roots here, just to make it look more natural, shall we say. The funny thing is, I do this and I think there would probably be a lot of youngsters now would love this look, because big lashes, big kind of drag style makeup is a real thing now. But as I say, like, I didn't really do anything. I didn't contour, I didn't do anything to my skin particularly. It was all just my eyes that I done things on. I don't think I can give you a really good rundown of whether or not this mascara is as good as I remember, because obviously I'm using them with a false lash, but I might use it in another video and then I'll give you a good idea, like a little, how much it lasts and how long it lasts and what have you. I used to really like that really doll eye look whenever I had a night out or a big kind of, oh no, put some underneath my eye there. So that would be the eyes. Obviously that was the longest part, and actually the rest of this video will be very quickly because I didn't really do anything else. I didn't do anything to my brows. I might have brushed them, but I didn't put anything in my brows. I didn't like put a tint through them. I didn't put a wax through them. I didn't put brow gel or a pencil through them because it just wasn't something that I particularly needed to do. I know you look back now and you see a lot of ladies talking about the fact they had like little sperm tadpole brow or very thin brows. I never ever touched my brows. I was very sensible that way, so I had decent brows, so I never ever had to worry about the fact. At the time, obviously, I probably didn't have particularly trendy brows, but now I am very thankful for not touching them. Now, if we're going to move on to skin, if I was going to do anything, as I say, bronzer was just starting to come in. Bronzer, maybe a little bit of blush, things like that. But it wasn't a big thing. I would probably, with this kind of a look, go for something a little bit maybe corally, something more this colour. I picked out this one to show you because I remember this one, and I'm sure I had this in Candid Coral as well, but this is Mellow Mauve. and this was from Elf. Again, this was from the studio stuff. I think most of their stuff comes packed like this now, but originally their pound stuff came in white, and their more expensive, maybe £3, £5 stuff came in this black packaging. So this is one of the original ones, and this is in Mellow Mauve, which mauve I would say is more of a kind of purple colour, but this actually is almost like a bit of a tan colour, so I'm going to attempt using this one. Again, I have brought from the archives my little mini MAC one, and this is a 168. These were like in a little set that I got. I think I mentioned that at the start, a Christmas set. See, that doesn't look purpley, does it? Let's give it a bash. I just thought I was the bee's knees because I had some MAC brushes. Oh, I've put far too much on, oh my god. Right, okay, let's see if I can blend these out. Now, people always said that the mini MAC brushes were never as good as the actual full-size ones, but I have to say, from the mini set I got, I wasn't blown away by them. It never made me want to pick up MAC brushes when you could get cheaper ones. So maybe there's some truth in that. Now, this on the camera is making it look like more of a toasted kind of tan colour, but I don't know if you can see, like, it's almost duochrome, and it's like a pink purpley shimmer, so maybe that's why it's called Mellow Mauve. But I absolutely would have worn this. I absolutely would have went out on a night out with this and wouldn't have thought twice about it if it looked matching or not. Another old school favourite of mine was MAC's Lady Blush, which was a cream blush. I always loved cream blushes, but I don't have that anymore because it became so old and dirty and full of hair and stuff like that from brushes. But Dolly Mix was another one I really enjoyed, but I felt that's probably just a little bit too pink to put on with this eye makeup, so we're not going to bother with that today, but that was one of my favourites. Now, I've made a bit of a rookie error here because I didn't put on a cream product before a powder, but again, probably would have done that at the time anyway. So I'm going to take Benefit's High Beam. This isn't quite as old as 10 years old because obviously this is a liquid, but it is probably a good 5 years old. I don't think I've used it in a long time. It's one of these like liquid kind of highlight things, and at the time this was absolutely something I would have put on my face. I always loved liquid products over powder ones because I didn't really use powder products very often. I didn't really like powder foundations. I didn't really enjoy like using a lot of like setting powder or anything like that, and I never ever have. So for that reason, this just sung to me when I seen it in Benefit, and they used to do that thing. They're like, can we come and give you a makeover? And they would do it. And they do a little like 10-minute makeover with you and then hope that you would buy all the stuff. So clearly I was a sucker for that. So I always preferred a cream product over powder ones. But I still think that Benefit High Beam is actually a very pretty product. I think it's really nice. It's a little bit too frosty for me now. But actually, while I've got this on, the look is that OTT as it already is. I don't think it looks so bad. And I would say that High Beam's probably a little bit more on the pink side than needed for this look, but it's just giving me a bit of a glow, and I quite like that. I probably would have put a tiny bit here and a tiny bit here as well. As I say, highlighting wasn't a massive thing, but things like how to make your top lip look bigger, or how to like accentuate your cupid's bow and stuff like that was about at the time. So it wasn't about highlighting, it was just about how to do your makeup a little bit more effectively and make it look nice. Alright, so let's move on to lips, which probably would have been the next. I wonder if I have a more golden highlight. Alright, so not quite 10 years old again. This is an H&M highlight and it's in Delicate Pearl, but it has a kind of golden tint to it. I've had this probably about 2 years, but I used to use one from Topshop Beauty. I don't really think Topshop, I think it kind of all went a bit defunct recently, but it was a really golden, like golden blush, and blush highlighter. I also had a really golden one from Elf. So we're gonna put this one on as a dupe, because it probably would have been something like this. I would have gave Bash to, whereas now, this is so Tin Man. I just wouldn't wear this now. And the other people that I've watched who've done this kind of style of video were talking about like the Dior Amber Diamond and stuff. Like, I didn't own anything like that. Oh my god, how Tin Man is my nose. See, my nose is big enough, I don't need to bloody accentuate it. I'm putting this on purely for the sake of the video. I would not normally have that much highlighter on. The high beam I could have gave you. This is just crazy biscuits now, and it's really golden. I don't think it maybe looks so golden in the camera, but it's a really, really golden highlight. Alright, so let's move on to lips now. Now, I do actually have a product here, look how old it is, called Spice, and it is from Rimmel, and it is one of their lip liners, and I actually really still like this product. I tried it on the other day in preparation for this video, and I would probably just wear this now as a kind of nude lipstick as opposed to a lip liner. But I don't really own anything, and if I did have anything circa 2010, it'd probably be a red lip, and I think with this green eye I just wasn't going to put on a red lip. Back in the day I probably would have, and I wouldn't even have bothered a shit, but now let's be a little bit more sensible. I don't know if I ever wore red lips with green, that's so dry, red lips with a green eye shade. But I think I definitely, I know for a fact I done it with blue. I done it with blue all the time. Blue eyes and red lips. That was just like my go-to. Okay, so I've put that one on for a bit of colour. But this is a bit of a blast from the past. This is Too Faced Lip Injection. Now, I owned this, the original, and as I say, it would have just went defunct and horrible over the years. But I picked up a new one because I thought, this is what, on a night out, this is what I would have had on. And it still smells as terrifying as it always did. This was sore when you used to use it. Now I'm going to give that a minute to kick in, because I have to be honest with you, I don't feel anything yet. And when you used to use this, it used to get really sore on your lips. Oh no, now I can feel it. That's it now. I can feel it starting. It's starting to nip and burn just a little bit, but not as bad as I remember it. I mean, it is getting sore, I'm not gonna lie, but it's taken a while to get there. Whereas I feel like when you used to put it on, it was like, I remember I let my mum try it and she was like, oh, I don't like this, take it off my lips straight away. This isn't that horrific. That from what I remember, the one that used to come in the little, like, it was pink with a black lid from Too Faced, the original one, was dire. It was so sore. Anyway, so that is my finished 2010 versus 2020 look. I like this. I think it's fun. It reminds me of what I used to do back in the day, and I liked being able to kind of express my creative side via makeup, I suppose, and I like it. I don't think it looks that horrific. It's not something I would be doing every weekend now. It's not something that I would be doing even on a night out now, let's face it. It's something I would probably do if I was going to like fancy dress as Poison Ivy or something and I got green eyeshadow on. It's something that I would maybe do if I was going to Pride, stuff like that, like really bright eccentric makeup. I don't hate it, but now I just think for every day it's a lot of makeup and it's very heavy, like for kind of just going on a night out. And although in the camera right now it probably doesn't look that bad, there's a lot of creasing, there's a lot of kind of creping going on in the lids, stuff like that, that my younger eyes wouldn't have been so noticeable, so I wouldn't necessarily wear it on a night out now. In saying all that, I have really enjoyed doing this. I thought it was so much fun. I'm so surprised that this isn't as tingly as I remember it. The foundation, now I'm actually pleasantly surprised with that foundation. I know I've got a lot of highlighter going on here, a lot of glow going on here, but actually when I look in a mirror, this actually hasn't come out too bad at all. So I've been really pleasantly surprised at how this has worked, and actually it might be something that I would actually look into using more often. Obviously I don't want to just waste this, I will use this up, but I had kind of overlooked this for years, and now I'm like, actually this is quite a radiant foundation, and I've just not even looked at it for so long. The only thing I would say about it is quite heavy foundation for my everyday use, but potentially it could be one that I would wear if I was going out of an evening or to an event like a wedding or something like that. I think it's quite nice. The green shadow, it's just, I love it, I love it. It just speaks volumes to me as a kind of late teenager, early 20s kind of person. And what else do I use? The blush and the highlight, okay, this is a bit too much for me now, but I like the novelty of it, I like that, and I've just really enjoyed doing this. There's a few things there that I thought, oh, it's nice to get them out again and play with them. The lashes obviously are a bit full on, but it's all just a bit of fun, isn't it? Anyway, so I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope that's gave you maybe some inspiration to try some stuff yourself. Nowadays I would probably be inclined to do like a very plain eye and then like a pop of green just on the waterline or on the bottom here for the summer. There are ways that now that I'm in my 30s I can make this look a little bit less done up and just still have pops of colour here and there, so that's something to think about in the future as well. But I hope you've enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed doing it. It's been really good fun. If you do a video like this, then please let me know. Please tag me over on Instagram. Let me know if you're doing like 2010 versus 2020. Let me know what it was that you were using back in the day, because I would love to know that stuff. If any of you remember any of these things that I've shown in this video, then let me know. Do you still use any of them? Is this like your holy grail products? Otherwise, it's been really fun today. I've really enjoyed it. This beats sitting in isolation not doing anything, I have to say. So I'll see you all again soon, and I hope you all like this. Bye.